All right, hold on, because there you go.
What? Hold on, what? Hold on, what?
Well, we're live now. Well, we should be at least.
I think we are because I see an on air button, which is always great. Thank you guys for staying up a little bit later with us tonight. Man, I'm kind of excited about this. In one way, there's so much about this topic that we want to talk about. Did Milroe have some tails, um, tipping off people with run or pass based upon the way he put his feet between before play. So I think there's a little bit we probably need to talk about that as former players and what we look like and how you study film to try to find these things. But then also maybe what goes into this early in the season versus later in the season. So um, we always appreciate you guys for coming in and joining in and watching Teague's Take. And because we got a lot of clips to show, how many we got, JT? How many we
Well, in this particular game, there's 64.
64 plays. We're not going to be talking necessarily about the play breakdown, really about his feet. So, because we got a lot of plays to go, we need to go ahead and get going. So, let's get this party started right now. All right, very special show today. Thank you for being a teacher and uh, tuning in to whether with your with the whether you're with us on Teague's Take channel or you if you are with the Bama Standard. We do appreciate everybody who gives us a word and let people know who we are. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit it now before you forget or before you fall asleep or whatever. Hit that subscribe button and show the love to us while we can. That is what makes our channels, both of our channels, thrive, and it's by having you become loyal followers for us. So we do appreciate it very much. As far as our run out today, I just want to give you guys a little bit of breaking news. It's not necessarily an inspirational kind of deal here. Yeah, we're always talking about, our love for coaching and what we do. And I want you guys to know this will be the first community uh, announcement, I guess, is that me, George Teague, has stepped back into the role as the head football coach at John Paul II High School in Plano, Texas. Woo woo! Yeah, right here, baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. So, it's been 4 years since I've been the actual coach here. I've coached at JP2 in prior years, but I've been asked to come back and step into that role, and I accepted. Uh, so we got some work to do. So it does look like we're going to have the opportunity for me and JT to coach together once again. So that's it. Let's go ahead and get into this part. JT, the man, the myth, the legend, all of that. Welcome to the show, my brother. Oh, am I supposed to hit it for you too? Yeah, he is in the
Your
house.
applause is better than mine.
I
Why?
think.
Why is your button better than my button?
What do you mean better? It's
Yours
not.
is the applause sound that you have on your button is better than the applause sound that I have on mine.
I would disagree with that because it sounds different on my end when I hit mine
Oh,
versus how yours
well
sounds.
then
So
maybe that's maybe they sound the same because it
yeah.
sounds very different. I'll have to go
Okay.
back and watch the video now.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for the thank yous and the congratulations. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. Lots of planning, and so that's one of the reasons why we're starting late tonight too. I apologize for that, just because I've been overwhelmed with this. Just happened yesterday.
Oh, and
So
speaking of which, Alabama heartbreaker. I know you are. You're probably assuming we started at 8:15. No, we started at 9:05. So you're
That's
not
correct.
that late.
Yeah, yeah. So that, and again, I apologize for that. I've been super busy. We've, just in my office and other stuff, kind of stuff. When you step back into this role, I just got busy and I couldn't do all the things that I would normally do. So JT and I agreed that we needed to start a little bit late, but we wanted to get into it. So the topic we're going to be talking about today is Jalen Milroe. I think there's probably a couple disclaimers. I don't know if that's the right word that we need to put. We're taking a one game sample here. We are going to show you every single offensive clip. Okay. I know people have not said that it's 100% because I don't think it will be 100%. But maybe the discussions between us, me and JT meeting, and in the chat is what your thoughts on how did this look earlier in the year. I think JT and I are committed. I don't know. He can speak to himself about this that, hey, we're going to look at this one game, but you do have to see what happened earlier in the year, other games prior. What does it mean? That type of thing. Because if you have tips, meaning you're showing your hand by something, whether it's a quarterback, a lineman, a wide receiver, a defensive back, those are never good. And how do you coach yourself or coach a team out of having those things, because at that level you got people watching film all the time. If there's one little thing that they can find out, do you rub the towels before a
Yeah,
running play?
and we've had I've at least been part of a couple of quarterbacks that always touch the towel before a pass.
Yes, so it very well could be true. I don't know. Another disclaimer: we have not watched this. We don't know the answer. We don't know the percentage. I don't know if JT quickly put together some type of Excel spreadsheet or something that he can make a tick mark on every time his feet were together
I did
versus not.
not, but
And
I have an expo marker and a whiteboard in front of me.
oh, okay. Oh, well, I was expecting a little bit more than that. Maybe some kind of robot or something that went over and you said,
And we just talked
"Here's a
about this
piece of-"
like 2 hours ago.
All right, so let's have some fun with this, man. Let's get into it. Right? Can we just go clip by clip, feet together, run or pass, or are you separating it? Let's set the stage. Are you going in order, or are you going to filter? So we have every play, and he can filter by what is supposed to be a pass versus what is supposed to be a run. Which way do you think is the most effective for us to do this so we don't?
I think I mean, if this is easy, if we're just saying, hey, let's find out what the answer is rather than drag it out, we can just filter by run and pass, and then just look at the feet. No, like look at all the run plays and look at all the pass plays and see how many. Just keep a note of how often it's true.
True or false?
Yeah, instead of
And
kind of
then
just running
percentage.
through the whole game. Um,
I agree with that. So looks like you got pass up first.
I
So
do, but that's just because that's the first play of the game. So we'll start with pass. There's more pass plays. So here we go. These are all the pass plays, and I don't know. You think end zone's a better? Maybe not. Maybe maybe the wide copy is.
yeah, we can go to both. And shout out to Blackfire and Tide in Texas for allowing this to happen, because this is kind of both of them in it. One being able to get the film up, and having it for every single Alabama game, which we do have. Thank you for them for allowing to be our title sponsor and um, giving us the opportunity to have this kind of stuff. And then Tide in Texas, we appreciate you because all that stuff up there at the top um, happens because of you, the data, where we can break these down and filter and hit those little funny little buttons JT just put on the screen. So, all right, so we're going to pass. Uh, as he says, so the report that was on Instagram where I first saw it at was, what's up, Monica? Feet together meant, no, I'm sorry, feet parallel. Which terminology are we going to use? Feet parallel,
Square, square
square.
and staggered,
We Okay, we're going square and staggered. So square means
like this.
parallel.
Yep.
Okay, staggered means one is in front of the other. We're not gonna probably be too nitpicky on whether or not it's a toe or a full foot or what that means. Just what we think is
Yeah, I
square
think
and
for the
staggered.
purposes of this, you kind of want to just make a decision quickly, right? Because if the discussion here is is the stance giving the tell, right? You also have to think, okay, if I am a player on defense, I also need to be able to tell. So I think if we get too hung up on is it an inch, is it 4 inches, it should be. Can I quickly just look and read run pass, and is it true, rather
Yeah.
than
Which, by the
overanalyzing?
way, we're gonna have fun with this, but I'm really saying if I'm that safety way back there, 12, 13, 14 yards away, can I really see his feet? Or are you honing in, or someone giving you a signal, some linebacker or something? But anyway, that's another conversation. All right, here we go. Play
So,
one. JT's doing the tick marks, so I'm not doing any tick marks. I'm going on your.
yep. So play one. Feeder square. Square is supposed to mean run. Staggered is supposed to mean pass. And this is a pass. So one goes in the false column on that one. Okay. Well, there's more tells on this, right? There's an empty backfield, so higher percentage of pass
Talk
anyway.
about that too. Talk about that just so you know. So if you're looking at the feet,
Yeah, I
it,
think if you're looking at the feet, let's go here.
the first is parallel. I don't know. That still looks square.
It looks square from this angle, but from here, I don't know. I think if you ask the person who had originally posted this, they would tell you that it's staggered. So we'll go with staggered, and we'll also go with this one. I'm not sure about his feet placement. When he moves the RB, it's a high chance of QB run.
Yeah, QB run, but
So I guess
wrong
we'll have to
again.
keep an eye on that one too, because in this particular case, this is also a pass. So I'll mark this one in the true column. Fine.
Okay.
This one, I think he's square. Oh no, he's not. That's a stagger.
Pass.
Also
Stagger.
a pass. Running back moves too. Okay, another stagger.
Again, these are all pass, so we don't have to
Yeah.
watch.
Say he's staggered here too. I mean, the line kind of helps us there on that one. Running back's out. So that's a pass. Slight stagger again.
Good Lord.
Yep, stagger again. He even moves his foot up. He started parallel and then reset. He's already staggered here. That one's close. Oh, not anymore.
The move. How are you really going to know that fast? I'm thinking of defense. Did you go, oh, maybe
I
there's
mean, if you practice it all week, I'd imagine it can't be that difficult. That one's true too. There's another stagger. I'm kind of tired of putting check marks in it. At least we're halfway through already. We're at 23. So just the first play of the game so far. This one I think is square.
I agree.
Okay, so there's a false on that one. Even though from the back end it doesn't really look like that, but I think that one's kind of square too. But it's empty. We'll go false on that one real quick too.
False.
There's a stagger.
Yeah. So I don't know. JT probably can see your comments. I can't really see if anybody's making any.
Oh yeah, here let me get at least one up there for you. I can get our chat up for you to see in our little studio here.
Cracking on me. Yeah, what you got
Bear
here?
with me
Yeah,
one
this is
second.
new stuff though. I don't know. I haven't watched the game. JT moving all kind of stuff around here, man.
Yeah, you know, I go quickly.
I've
Stagger,
noticed it.
even under center.
Pass.
I'd say
Stagger.
that's a stagger too. Another one.
What am I looking at over here, man? Or is this something I can change on my screen? You kind of, I'm
What are you
looking
talking
at. I see new managing moderators can support your channel in even more ways.
What?
You pop something up on my screen over here. What?
Oh,
Teague's Take turned on subscribers only mode.
I don't know, man. Just look at the film.
I just wonder how people are seeing this, or is that
Oh
just me?
no, it's just you.
Oh, okay.
I'll put that one as square. That was tough to tell. But now we're on play. This is play 37. Big stagger. Almost through all the pass plays. There's another stagger. Not looking good so far. Another stagger backs out. Square so far, and then we reset and get ready.
Stagger.
And he staggered here too. I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at something else. Okay, that one's square. Read option. Ooh, that's tough.
Pass.
I mean, it is a pass, but it's an
It's an RPO.
It's an RPO of the most RPOs. I'm not gonna count that one because that one.
What do you mean? He threw it.
Yeah, he threw it, but I don't think it was. I think he was intending on running the ball here.
Nobody went out. Nobody's running routes other than the one guy.
I'm just gonna put an X up here for that one.
One's not going to skew your
right. No, so far, no, it's not. Because we got a stagger here too. How many more we got? Dang, there's a lot. I thought we were halfway done. Now we're halfway done.
Just a pass?
Yeah, just the pass, and then we got to go through 20 runs.
Had 60-something passes.
No, we had 42 passes. The play numbers are what's different here. It's empty. I really I feel like I should take the empty ones out. You know, it's like, duh.
I'm trying to see what Sam. What do you mean by that, Sam? That anyone thinks that insinuate that he would intentionally do this? No. So some of the talk. Let me pause on that for a minute. So, I don't think this is intentional. Just as we're looking at this, but it does. So one of the things I'll use my own personal experience. JT said he had some.
We had a quarterback this year.
Yes. So, and you want to tell your story first before I go into?
Yeah, I mean he was tipping the snap count, and it was just like if we were going on 2.
Wait, tell them where you're at and what this was when you say we had a quarterback. They may be thinking you're talking about Alabama.
Oh no, at John Paul we had a quarterback who we would try to go on. We try to change up the cadence, right? And he had a habit of touching. So he had a towel that was hanging out of the backside of his pants, and he would touch the towel before he would flash his hands to take the snap. And you go on one so often that you never really pay attention to it until you're me, who's on the defense side of the ball, and you're working on your blitzes, and you're trying to tell your guys to time up the blitz, and you're looking at the quarterback, and you realize, oh, when they go on 2, he just flashes his hands and gives you the hard count, and then he touches his towel and he flashes his hands again, and then the ball is snapped. So the indicator is that when he touches the towel, the ball is being snapped. Whether it's a silent count on 1 or on 2, the ball is being snapped after he touches the towel. And it also happened to be if he was throwing the ball, he would also touch the towel. So on pass plays, he might actually touch it twice. He touches towel and then flash his hands, take the ball and throw it. So you spend all season trying to get him to stop doing that. And it's so ingrained as a habit. He doesn't even realize he's doing it until you sit here and you do things like this and be like, hey man, every time you touch your towel, you're snapping the ball. And I've noticed this. The offensive coaches didn't notice it because they're looking at all these other things. But me on the defense side of the ball, it's like, look, you guys kind of have to fix this, but it's hard to do because it's kind of like getting to it's kind of like getting somebody to stop biting their fingernails. Like you're gonna have to like deter them somehow. Take the towel. This is kind of
Got to put electric shock back there.
It's like, bro, it's just, hey,
Get
no more
dazed
towel.
every time
You
you
can't
touch
have it no more. And then but then it just turns into something else. Then it's patting his butt, wiping his pants, or whatever. So
Well, Sam, let me tell you here, no one on Teague's Take is any kind of Milroe hater. We're just trying to show people what actually happened. It's not maybe you're speaking of someone else that is not us. We have always been supporters of Milroe and still remain that way. But, if we can show data and give you the extra clips so you're not just watching one, two, or three, four, five plays, we want to give you the whole sample, and then because we have all the rest, which we're not going to watch all. How many games did they actually play? Uh,
uh,
10, 11,
yeah.
12 of them, whatever it was. We won't do that, but we can here because we do feel like it's been different here. And what um, JT is, trying to get the audience to know that, hey, guys do these things for whatever reason, and I think he's given a great example of just habit. Maybe they started in middle school and they've been doing it forever, and you're trying to change it, and maybe you can't. How do you break that? Is ultimately what becomes the coach's deal. And did the coaches actually know, and how much did they work with him to try to change it? So my story, and this was basically something that I actually learned from Deion Sanders, and there was a little bit before that. But Deion was the master at figuring out how wide receivers stood. If he could figure out anything that you did with your stance, did you run certain things when your left foot was up versus your right? What about if your hands were down low or up high? Was there any kind of tell on that where he's like, oh, this means short route, out route, something, and then it just looks like you're all world because you're always jumping this out route. Well, you might have knew it before the play, and he was very good at that. And he would tell us sometime, hey, if this wide receiver lines up here and his stance is like that, I'm going on the out. And you just cover me on the out and up
Yeah,
because
yeah. You
I'm
just
going for
play
that.
the odds now, right? It's like, well,
Yeah,
yeah, if it's 8 out of 10 times, you if you're right 8 out of 10 times and you get 2 picks off of it, you might be okay with giving up 2 deep balls if somebody's got you over the top.
yes. And so this is now, although we're talking about an individual person here, it is also our job as coaches to say, so this is a tendency, right? That we would call it, whether we're calling it a tail or whatever, a tendency. But if we can find a tendency off of a formation or a motion or something, it's the exact same thing. Hey, when it's 3rd and 3 and the tight end moves, whatever, flops, we're gonna get this, then man, it's an automatic check, that you're just teaching these guys. So anyway, I know we got off um, topic there, but I think it's great stuff, Sam. I appreciate it. This is not something again, and maybe we'll have a little bit of time here that maybe we just flip to another game, you know, um, prior to it and just see what it looks like. We're only wanted to choose just because it was the last one and it's where it comes from. Because reports say it wasn't like this in the beginning of the year, specifically Georgia, but maybe it was in Oklahoma. So maybe it was on all the bad games that it was actually happened. I don't know. Haven't done enough
Yeah, and that's kind of where we landed when we talked earlier of like what we're trying to figure out was this all year, or was it did it get worse as the season went on? You know, there could be many a reason why it happened.
Well, and just what I've seen off of this right here, JT, is that we have seen that his feet were square, and I know they were teaching him that. I think there were reports, and I think we have some Washington film that if we even wanted to show it, that Penix was square with his feet. Well, a lot of times Miro was starting with it, but just soon as right before he was getting ready to snap, he would set the foot back. That just seems like a comfort thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Well, and that's what I want to see is like, okay, well, what do the run plays look like? Is it because right now, like if we ended the video right now, you could just run with the narrative of yeah, when his feet are staggered, the ball's thrown. But we haven't actually looked at any of the run plays. Like he might actually do this on the other 21 runs here, and then
all right, let's go. Let's keep going. All right, so we're still on the passes. Play. Yeah. I don't know where we're at.
Yeah, I don't know either, but we're getting through the end here.
Stagger.
Empty as well.
Stagger.
There's another one.
Stagger.
Another
empty. Penalty. Oh no.
Nope. And then he resets. Another stagger. Okay. Oh, was that it? This is the last one here. And I think I'm going to say that's a stagger, even though we got to run it back in the way. But
yep. Hey, Chris, I hear you saying why didn't he? It always comes back to why you didn't pull him and give Simpson a chance. You know, I'm saying this, and I don't know, but let me answer his question. There is that really. This is always my answer. I'm not saying it's the right answer. No difference than pros, whatever. There's a lot of stuff that come into that and why you don't go to it. But I always go back to if the coach feels like his best option was whoever the quarterback is, and he didn't want to go to the second reason, there has to be something behind that. I don't know what it is. Does he think Tip's not that good? Was he mad at him? I have no idea. All I know from sitting in the coaching chair, as we've talked about on some of the other shows, I went through 3 quarterbacks in one game, and it didn't matter.
that was
at that point.
That was the Lovejoy game, wasn't it? And
that's correct. That's correct.
That was rough.
So we had a starter, wasn't going so well. You put in another one that don't go that well, and we're down to our 3rd quarterback, and it's already too late at that point. So
yeah, well, it also doesn't help when that 3rd quarterback tells you exactly what play he wants to run, and then throws a pick 6 on it. That's not great either.
Yeah. So it's easy for us to say on this side, but we're in the heat of the moment, and you know what your quarterbacks are and how they're ready or not ready. Who are we talking to? We had someone on our show when we were talking about when do you know when you need to pull your quarterback. That's a bold move. Okay. This is square.
Yep.
Or no?
Oh, and then we get the monsoon.
The rain.
Yeah, and I don't actually know if this is gonna be if we're even gonna be able to tell if it was run or pass or not. This is an RPO.
So if it threw it would have been a pass, but the rain probably got rain.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put an X on that one just like I did with the last RPO.
I agree, Sam. Square.
Yeah.
Have to look at the footwork, what it means when you're actually doing a read too, whether or not your feet are already open or not. Because every time you run a zone, he ends up dropping the foot anyway. I'm not saying it's not the same thing, but it's. I guess we have to look which foot does he normally drop back. It was always his left. Run. See, let me just say I'm trying to think from a quarterback standpoint. Some of this, again, not making any excuses one way or another, but if your left foot is back all the time and you got to zone, think about the way he has to open his feet. What I'm saying, once he's running the inside zone, you don't want your feet. That's why I'm sure they're saying, hey, we always want your feet square.
Right, because if he's in this case, if the back is on the other side, you've actually got to drop with your right foot.
Yes. And that which means he would have to switch in the middle of the play, what you don't want to do is extra wasted steps. So he needs to be square.
Right, like this one. Like this right here. He can't. Yes. He can't step back with his left foot.
Correct. We better not. Chris says, "Why is his comment showing up?" What do you mean? I see him. What does he mean somewhere else?
Oh, I don't know, but I do see them.
We see him, Chris.
Yeah, I guess we're almost through these, and I kind of stopped making tally marks.
Is this 100%?
I think all but one, maybe, but we're almost through the end here.
Draw.
Yep, and he's still square here. And that's the last one.
All right, so 100% on the run and 90-something on the.
Let's see. I threw out 2. So let's do some quick math here. There's 64 plays. I threw out 2, so 62 plays. Minus 4, which is 58. So 58 out of 62. 24 out of 31. That's pretty high. But I'll pull out a calculator real quick. 58 divided by 62. That is 93.5%.
Being accurate as far as doing that. Okay, so
at least in this game.
For the one game, that is a pretty high percentage, and if that's been going on, or when do you find out? And now I need to remind you that typically, at least from a player standpoint, you're not watching 10 games as a player or the whole season. I don't know how many of you guys normally watch, but we would always get about 4 games. Whether or not you watched every single one of them, but most of our breakdowns came on the last 4 games. The coaches may go back a little bit further and look at that. So what did you just pull up here?
This is the first game of the year. This is Western Kentucky.
Okay.
So I'm
supposed to be a run, which I see run.
Right. I'm flipping to the pass plays. Again, I really want to throw out the empty ones.
Oh, yeah. Can't see.
Yeah, I mean, he's still staggered, but it's not nearly as... It's not so pronounced. Like, see, he's square here. And I think he's pretty square there. Wait a minute. Now I'm kind of actually looking at something different here. Because this is just a thought, and I don't even know that it matters. I wonder if the foot that he drops with first is also the side of the field that he's going to read first. And I just happened to notice this.
That would be interesting. Whether or not he steps back with his right foot or his
Right,
left.
because this play right here, left foot first.
Yep. Looking over there.
Right, so that's the concept side. And then this next play is, I think, is right foot first.
Yep.
Well, I guess it's a short step, but but he's got a little stagger, but it's consistent, right? That looks more square than it had been in the last game we just watched.
Yep.
Right. So small sample size here through the first game of the season, but you can see that it's not like that. You don't have that till game one. At least through the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pass plays. I'm trying to just quickly see like when's the last breakdown we have. Guess we can.
That's funny. He's not more interested in those open receivers he can't see. Well, I think we're doing this just because I think when people come up with these hot takes, that
Square.
When you have the film to be able to see who's this? This is Georgia.
Yeah.
So apparently this was
So, but I want to go later in the game now. I'm just gonna start picking stuff, and he's still square here. This is fourth quarter.
This is fourth game. That when we played Georgia?
Yeah, third or fourth, something like that.
Even in the empty.
Yeah. So I mean, like
square.
That might have been the last tape that we had of Bama that was broken down. Looks like it. So if it started happening late in the season.
Yeah. And we'll get all that broken down. That is our next step, to be able to continue to show film over the course of the off season and maybe highlight certain plays, players, concepts, things of that nature that Alabama actually uses. But again, we got to say thank you to Tide, Texas, to allowing us to be able to go grab this information so that we have it easily to get to, because without that data, we have to do a whole lot of input.
Yeah, and I'm really not into doing that.
Yeah, me either. All right, so I guess then the last little piece is basically, what do you do to how do you what is a coach really saying? Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Whose responsibility is it to do the self-scouting of this and looking for information like this and be able to say, hey, coach, we got a problem? Is it the head coach? Is it someone that's designated to be like, hey, go find the tendency on said receiver, said quarterback?
I think that if anybody on the staff would find this, it's probably your offensive analyst. Like who is the person that's actually doing the self-scout? Well, people. It's probably not just one person. It's probably multiple people. Because I think it's pretty difficult when you're a position coach to find something like that, because there are so many other things that you're looking at. You're looking at not necessarily a starting stance, but footwork in the pocket, where your eyes, where your reads, which way is the face mask looking, mechanics. Like there's so many other things that you get to before that,
Yes.
I think.
And I think you're answering that last question with this. Do you think it's more likely to get caught if you have a separate QB coach instead of QB OC? I don't necessarily think that
I don't
because
think so. And again, like I said, the person that noticed that on our team in recent years was me because I was the defensive coordinator I was the one trying to figure those kind of things out, trying to teach our guys like, hey, how do we know how can we tell in our team periods like when we're going to be how do we time up the blitz? How can we do this and this other thing so we can start getting in the habit of looking at tells like that? And I think it's probably not that is their job, but I think it's easier probably for a defensive coach to spot something like that because one, we're kind of already thinking that way anyway, and two, you're not really worried about like what the rest of the things are that's going on. Like I don't care what the quarterback's reads are. I don't coach quarterbacks. You know, I'm trying to figure out how do we not jump on off sides when Aaron Rodgers does his godly cadence that gets people all the time. Like that would be the thing that I'm trying to figure out is what is it that he does before he does all of that that you can kind of tell like, oh, all of this is about to be fake. You know?
hey, Truth, thank you for that. I don't know if you can see that or show that. The True Showtime says, I'm doing a film breakdown that completed game one against Western Kentucky and currently breaking down South Carolina game. And he's still squared on all plays. So that's, you know, we haven't got there, but that's what we're going to get. And what's something you maybe should show or post or something later of when did it actually start to change and how much worse did it get? And then, not that it really matters now because it really comes back to why. I don't know if we're ever going to have those answers. What happened to go from the beginning to what we saw in the last game? Was it, hey, I just don't care now. I'm comfortable where, or did he? I don't know.
Or
No.
the field was flooded, so that's the best way to get your footing is to stack yourself and squat a little bit.
Yeah, there's too many um things. So uh he said coach seems suspect. You know, I think it goes into JT. It's like what he's saying with our own team that these aren't necessarily the things that you're still limited on time. And although we're talking about Milroe, what we have to be conscious of. So we're talking about Milroe just because it came up, but these tells also happen with Lyman, for
Yeah.
instance.
We St. Thomas, the school down in Houston, had which this is one that I'm like, I don't know how they didn't catch. Because this one was kind of egregious. Is their left tackle, if it was run, he had his hand in the ground. If it was pass, he was in a 2-point stance. I was like, come on, man. That's a little too obvious. That's a whole change in body position. And it wasn't from what I could tell, it wasn't a widely kept secret. You know, everybody knew that it just didn't matter because St. Thomas was better than everybody. But
Yeah, like, and okay, yeah, we're trying to run the ball. Who cares? Stop us.
yeah,
Figure out which run. Yeah. Um, and all the point we're trying to make is I don't know that you can look at every position and try to figure out what their tail is. That takes a lot of time. It's easy because you're looking at the quarterback, but your lineman, your running back, your wide receiver. I was listening to somebody's podcast or whatever they were talking about, him being on defense and where he put his hands could have meant whether or not he was blitzing or dropping or something just from your stance on defense as a linebacker.
Yeah, those outside linebackers, they usually tend to have a pretty good, or even another one that I know that is common that people look at is middle linebackers who are like mugged up into the A gaps. And
Yeah. Are they really blitzing or not? You
yeah,
mean do the guys
quarterbacks
get
sit there and be like, yeah, he's not coming. He don't. It's not what it looks like when he blitzes,
Yeah.
or whatever that is.
Yeah. He never comes because whatever. Michael's on the other side. He's
Yeah,
rushing.
yeah. It could be schematic things. It's like, yeah, well, we know Mike is not dropping into coverage, so one of you two need to do it, and it ain't gonna be him. So
Yeah. So, it's yes, we're talking about this, and maybe we've proven a point that hey, in this game for sure he had some tells. But I bet if we went back and looked through some things, we probably could find some others who were given a different kind of tell on something else if you had enough time to actually go look at every offensive player. Um, because they do that. I can remember another quick story about that is I can remember when I was up with the Minnesota Vikings and I was sitting in the defensive side and the I can't remember who we were watching, but the center actually had the tell. So when what JT was talking about, hey, when he would have this mug, you know how they're always making the gestures and the movements on when they're going to snap.
mhm.
They were saying that if he pointed, and it came true, if he pointed with his right hand, so you're calling the mic, hey, he's a mic, he's a mic, he's a mic. So a lot of times the defenses will do that and then try to move people around to see if they try to switch, right? So once you identify the mic, then you move, right? So he's a mic, he's a mic, he's a mic. And then the center would then not necessarily say anything, but he would lose his left hand, like,
Just
oh,
point
it's really
somewhere.
him.
Oh,
Yes. Or it's really, this is a dummy call and this is the real call, or whichever way they had it. So it's basically, hey, you get set up and he's going to point, but that ain't what's going on for real. So um, it's things like that you're having to try to figure out. So it's a little, I mean, we probably could spend a whole lot of time on this discussion. Just once you get to that level, you have a whole lot more time to watch film and you can figure it out. It's really how much time you want to take and how much value does it really bring to you.
yeah.
And,
Because then
and how can
sometimes you
you
you spend all that time and you don't find the tell, right? You just watching film for your health, I guess.
Yes, and everybody still got to get on the same page, unless you just know it's 100%, and you can give some
Mhm.
kind of hand signal, like I don't know that maybe it makes a difference that it's run. You know, uh, that's one thing, but you still need to know which run and how. You just can't go running up in there. You still got to play your doggone technique. Um, I always like the ones where my tendencies are what is the actual play. Now I can gamble. It's always draw when they do this, or it's always
Mhm.
sweep or something. Um, because then you can take the gambles and the risk as a player. There's one other comment I have to do. I don't know who said it. They were saying, well, nowadays they have a mic in the ear and you can do it. But yeah,
Before 15 seconds, at least.
if you're expecting your linebacker to honestly be able to say, okay, you see it from up in the box, and then they relay it to, hey, tell him it's a run. And this guy's tired and he's trying to figure out which guard he's looking at, and people shifting it.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I don't like about the mics, because you have to be good at it. I think that's a skill in itself of like you're getting all this information and a lot of it may be inactionable when really all you're trying to do is just play the game, right? And you got somebody nagging you in your helmet for 30 seconds before each snap. It happens on our sideline too. It's like, hey man, just quit talking to him. Let him play.
Yeah. They're trying to figure out how to turn that damn thing off, and they're like, oh man, please turn this
Right.
damn thing off. Coaches working the shit out of me. Tell JT I said move over. No, I ain't got time for all that. I'm trying to get lined up myself. Uh, okay. Um,
So you got a
Sam,
couple questions here. Do you think Keelan Russell has a chance to start day one?
I don't. I I do not have enough knowledge on. I know he's from out here in our neck of the woods and all this kind of stuff, and he's supposed to be really good. But uh, I don't know how you feel about that. I don't have a thought. I have not watched any film. I have not seen him play. I do know that it is. You have to be really good to go jump into this level and start day one as a freshman.
Well,
You
I'm
know,
going to take the question as um, literally what he said. Does he have a chance to start day one? Yeah, he has a chance. It's. I'm almost positive Coach DeBoer did not say you're coming here and you will redshirt no matter
sit
what.
for a year.
Don't worry
Yeah,
about it. Like, don't
never
even
thought
try.
of that. Never
So
thought.
yeah, I think he's got a chance. I don't. Whether it's likely, I have no idea. Um, your thoughts on your teammate Sam Shade being named head coach at Alabama A&M?
I think it's pretty awesome. I know our family's excited. We're all very close to him. And Tish went to school there, so she's super excited about him being there as well. And it's close enough where I can go stay at Tish's house and go watch him coach a game at some point, maybe, depending on our schedule now. But I think it's great. This guy has done. You talking about the path that he's taken from being a professional player, doing things in the pros, and then coming down and being it's going into high school and then going up to a smaller college and working his way up is a true testament to him on his consistent ability to keep going up, up, and up. And I know you're saying that you love him. I do as well, but he's one of the smartest guys that I've played with as well. He was in the
Oh, I'm gonna
engineering.
tell Darren.
Oh well, Darren would tell you that. I mean, I love Darren too. Darren was probably a whole lot more athletic than Sam from that standpoint. Sam was athletic, but he was very robotic. And I'm not saying anything that I hadn't said to him. He seemed like he was stiff. He was fast, and he would hit you, and he could do some stuff. But that guy, his brain, good lord. I mean, you're talking about being engineering and in math, that kind of stuff. There's a smart brother, and so uh, we kind of started out in that same department. And I ended up not in that department a little later, and he stuck with it. They got anything to say about it. So anyway, um, that's it, brother. I don't think we have any more. There's a lot of comments. Did we miss any questions before we get ready to go?
I'm
Um,
sure there's probably a lot of questions, but chat was kind of popping off today. So
yeah, yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys. Tomorrow here we're going to be on lockdown. Uh, Not true lockdown, but the weather's coming through uh, Texas and in our area. So we'll have to go to school tomorrow. JT still got to go to work since he worked from home.
that is true.
And we have school from home, but there ain't no
Mm.
athletics during the day. So I guess I'll be scrolling around Twitter and Instagram a little bit and see what's going on with this kind of stuff. So we do appreciate you guys. Sam, we thank you, man. You are a trooper. You are a Teagster. Mr. Rage, thank you. Chris, all of you guys, appreciate you guys for coming in and joining Teague's Take tonight. Sorry we were running a little late and behind today, but it kind of is what it is. Next week, we're going to have a guest on. Um, and he's a coach in college at a Division I deal. Um, we're gonna break down some film, um, but from the perspective of coach a little bit, and maybe we'll ask him a little bit about this. But an offensive line coach, make sure that you pay attention to what's going on with Twitter and Instagram because we'll start promoting that pretty soon. But it's Trumaine Watson, um, a Division I coach who's going to come break down some film with us. So uh, don't forget to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give us the likes. Come see us next week, 8:15 p.m. Central Time. You had the man here today. His name is James Theo Teague. Always breaking down the stuff using his fancy math. Even put a calculator on the screen today. Where else can you go and get a calculator put on the screen? You can't go anywhere else other than right here at Teague today. Film, calculators, and facts. Hashtag that. He's James Teague. I'm George Teague. We'll see y'all next week.